Hi, I am Reshma McClintock. Welcome to 365 Live. At 365 Live, we are highlighting global activists and thought leaders from around the globe, featuring their work, people who are working toward social change within and beyond the adoption community. So we are really excited today to have with us Keren Riley. Keren Riley is the founder of Reunite, a family preservation project in Uganda. Their reunification efforts bring Ugandan children safely back to their biological families. So thank you so much for joining us, Keren.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We're going to dive right in. I have a couple of questions for you, and I'm just wondering if you will briefly explain about the work that you do in Uganda.
Okay, so basically we reunite children back home. So they may have been stuck in orphanages, they may have been trafficked for international adoption, they may have been kidnapped, and we also work in the psychiatric hospital, the government psychiatric hospital, trying to keep the babies together with their mums or in kinship care. So that's basically it. Those are kind of the four main things that we do.
Great. That's excellent. I love to hear all of that. Keren, I'm curious, what inspired you to do this work? What was the catalyst where you said, I have to create Reunite? Or what are the things that kind of led up to that point where you realized there was a need for it? And, essentially, I suppose most of this starts with the pulling of our heartstrings. So where did this start for you? What was the inspiration?
I think probably the first thing was us adopting our son in 2005. And he'd been living in an orphanage and it had been horrific. So, yeah, that was a huge inspiration. Then the second inspiration was when we moved back here in 2010 and meeting a little boy called Davin in a certain orphanage and being told he was an orphan and that he needed adoption and basically, cut a long story short, managing to get into his file and discovering that he actually had a family. And he was the first child that we got home in May 2011. And he's still been home and doing really, really well. So he's kind of he was and still is really the inspiration, I would say, behind Reunite. Realizing that most of the children in orphanages had families just blew my mind. Totally blew my mind. Because you know what it's like over in the West, we're told that they're all orphans. So then to discover that 80 to 90% of children here in orphanages actually have families, I was just blown away and just thought, this is so awful. What can we do to help? So that's how it kind of started, really.
80 to 90% of families. Is that in Uganda specifically?
No, they apparently when there's been studies, they say that's pretty much a worldwide figure. Children end up in orphanages for lots of different reasons. Normally, poverty is at the bottom, but it can be that suddenly a mum becomes a widow and she loses her income because her husband's. And most people put children in there temporarily, and they always intend to come back. But unfortunately, if a particular orphanage has got an international adoption program, they'll be whizzed out of there before you know it. Before the people come back, before the mums or the dads come back to get them, they'll have gone. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a worldwide figure, and it's shocking, isn't it? It's really shocking. It's still shocking to me, actually.
Yeah, it is really shocking. I just wanted to note there's a little bit of a lag on the feed with the internet, and this is just what happens when you're talking worlds apart. So everybody's not going to be worried about that. I just wanted to acknowledge that I know there is a little bit of a lag.
Okay.
So I think that's just such a fascinating number, and it's absolutely shocking to people. I've heard statistics like that before. They still really shock me. Can I ask, can you just briefly expand a little bit on Davin, was it, on his story? Can you tell us where was the deception? Where was there, I mean, essentially there had to be a lie told, some deceit at some point where they thought he was potentially, I don't know, adoptable for lack of a better term. Can you explain where was the deceit there, or where is it most often?
Yeah, and if you want to, you can actually look on our website, and we made a short film about it, which can be more in depth, which, if you want more of the details. Basically, he was being looked after by his dad, he's a single dad, and the dad had a very bad road accident, got taken to the hospital where he ended up being for 4 months because he was that seriously injured. And Davin got given into the police station, and we don't know really what went wrong then, because it didn't seem like that they made the connection and said that he has got a dad, this is where the dad lives, this is the dad's telephone number, you know, to leave a paper trail. He just got put into the system, and he got put into an orphanage about 10 miles away from where they were living. And it just wasn't put in the file at that point about the dad at all. When we got into the file, like I said, there was a mum's number, a mum's name in there. And other details, but what transpired with that particular one is that the main police officer, I'm sorry to say this, but it's just a fact, she was actually feeding children to a particular orphanage for international adoption. So there were a number of children that we ended up getting, we brought them back home, that she'd been instigated in. She's died now, she's not alive anymore, but yeah, that's
Wow.
unfortunately how it works. Yeah.
That is astounding.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's one of the reasons we wanted to interview you is you're just a wealth of knowledge and information, and just your experience that you've had. You know, people question even the statistics that we put out there, and the stories that we share. And I know you deal with this on a regular basis as well, that people constantly question if this is really true or not, that there is trafficking within adoption, that so many adoptions are unnecessary, that there are families for these so-called orphans. And so I just appreciate you sharing that, because you are obviously an authority on the subject, based on your experience. So I really appreciate that. Moving on, I wanted to ask how others can be involved in your organization and the really good work that you're doing with Reunite.
I mean, to be honest with you, the main thing we need at the moment is funding. We are grossly, horrifically underfunded. And if we had better funding, we could then enlarge our workforce, you know, have a larger team of people, and we'll be able to do a lot more than we can do. We haven't even got an office. We can't even afford an office. I mean, that's how bad it is. So that's the main thing, to be honest with you, at the moment. I know it's not that glamorous to say that, you know, about funding. People might want to do more than that. But obviously, if people believe in the power of prayer, people can pray for us, because definitely we need the hand of God to help us, because some of the work is quite serious. Yeah, and then of course they can join our online platforms. That's really helpful to us. It's really lovely when people comment and people are supportive online. That really helps us to keep going, which is really helpful.
Excellent. Well, and you're right. I understand what you're saying, that funding, well, nobody likes to ask for money, even for their organization or, you know, business and good work. So I understand that, but I appreciate you just being straightforward about that. And, you know, we talk a lot at FP365 about how much money is raised for adoption purposes, and how significantly less significantly less money it takes to really keep families together, and support people like you doing the work that you're doing. So, you know, I appreciate that you're just really straightforward about that. At this time, that's really what you need, is the funding. How can we connect with you online if people want to give? What are the ways that they can go about doing that? And all of that. And then we'll print this information also when we post the interview. But how can we connect with you so that people can go?
Okay, so we've got a website, which is reunite.live. It needs to be updated, but we've still got a website. Facebook we use a lot. It's probably our most popular platform, and it's just Reunite. That's the name for that. We're on Instagram, which is Reunite1, the number 1. We have got a Twitter account, but honestly, I'm just so overwhelmed with trying to keep up with all of them. We just kind of put that to rest at the moment, just to sleep. And then we've got a blog, reuniteug.blogspot.com. Once again, we don't kind of keep it as much as we should, just because we're just busy out in the field, you know, working. But yeah, but I think if you kind of joined Instagram and Facebook, you would definitely get a flavour of what we're doing. And we regularly share about what we do, kind of day in and day out, the stuff that we can anyway. It's not too confidential. Yeah.
So can people give through your website, or they just need to contact you in order to give?
Yeah, there's on the website, there's a GoFundMe page, which CNN asked us to set up when we were on CNN a couple of years ago. But the most regular one that that people use is a PayPal one at the moment anyway. So that's paypal.me /Reunite Uganda. Yeah, so that's an easy way to get money to us. But yeah,
Great.
as we grow and as we become stronger and as we have more help, we'll be able to get other ways of kind of helping people to fund. But right now, that's it. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. To those of you watching, I appreciate you being understanding about a little bit of the technical difficulty. It's kind of remarkable that we can talk to someone in Uganda face to face in general. So let's just be thankful for the technology that we have. I also urge you to go to Reunite's Facebook page and Instagram and their website. I urge you to watch the videos. They are incredibly powerful. To be really honest with you, I understand this isn't easy to stomach, a lot of these things, but we have to address these issues head on. And we are so thankful for warriors in the field like Keren, the good work she's doing with Reunite. And we thank you for watching. We look forward to interviewing more world changers out there working to keep families together. And we're just really excited about all of the work that's being done and moving forward. So stay tuned for more 365 Live coming your way. And we just appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.